Well, let's speak to Shai Franklin, a partner with Gotham Government Relations. He joins me now from New York. Good to have you with us. So, Shai, just put this into context for us. This is the first time in American history that Congress has recommended charges against a former president.
It's also the first time in history that there was such an insurrection and such an effort to undermine the results of a presidential election. So, yes, it is unprecedented. It's a little surprising for many people that it took over a year to get to this point, 18 months really, or more. I think we live in unprecedented times, certainly in the United States, and I think in some other parts of the world as well.
Now, these referrals are a recommendation, but how do you think the Department of Justice is going to respond?
Well, the Department of Justice is, of course, answerable to Congress, and the Democrats control the House, and then President Biden is a Democrat. Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, has said that he will follow up any credible evidence of crimes that have been committed. The committee took probably hundreds or thousands of hours of testimony, probably 1 million pages of evidence, and that can now all be transmitted formally to the Department of Justice. And in case anybody's concerned about the chain of custody, where does testimony come from? It's coming now directly from the House to the Department of Justice. It's very important not only that there be whatever consequences of the judicial process and law enforcement process, but that it appear to the American public to be credible and legitimate. And I think that's why this committee was very important. And today's hearing in particular, which had the look of a court of judgment, you know, the polling of each committee member, if they agreed with the transmitting of these referrals to the Department of Justice. I think it's very compelling. And the material that they've put out in the public, and which is going out in the public now in terms of the full report, will also be very compelling. What this really comes down to ultimately is the legitimacy of the American system of government.
And the DOJ, the Department of Justice, is already considering a range of charges against Donald Trump. What impact could this have on his next presidential bid and indeed on future presidents?
That's correct. And there is now a special prosecutor who was recently appointed. And so he is already convening grand jury testimony. So there certain charges specifically would disqualify Donald Trump from ever holding public office in the United States, elected office anywhere, having participated in an insurrection. It's interesting that they chose not to accuse him of the full level of crimes that many people claim that he committed. Rather than leading the insurrection, it's enough that he participate or enable an insurrection, assist an insurrection. So that's really what's in their criminal referral. It's very important in a courtroom proceeding not to ask for charges that are harder to prove. If he can be proved to have been involved and to have supported an insurrection, that would be enough to disqualify him from running again. If he's under indictment, he could still run legally, but that would make it much easier for another Republican, say Governor Ron DeSantis, to capture more votes and to get on the ballot. You have to get on the ballot in all 50 states in order to run in 50 states. So if Donald Trump is precluded from getting on the ballot, even in a few key states, then in the primaries, then he would not be able to really be a contender.
Shai, good to speak with you. Thank you very much indeed for that. Shai Franklin there in New York.